Right now, somewhere in your home, there is a creature that can produce a material 5 times stronger than steel, yet softer than silk. A predator that can sense the vibrations of a single fly landing on its web from 3 feet away. An engineer that builds structures so mathematically perfect that architects study them for inspiration. And it does all of this with a brain the size of a pinhead. This is the spider, and I mean this literally. Nothing about spiders is normal. Not their bodies, not their behavior, not their biology. They are 8-legged aliens that happen to live on Earth. They breathe through holes in their abdomen. They digest their food outside their bodies. Their blood is blue. They can survive being frozen solid. Some species can live for over 40 years. Others can run across water. And one species, the Darwin's bark spider, produces silk that is 10 times tougher than Kevlar, making it the strongest biological material ever discovered. But here's what really breaks our understanding of biology. Spiders aren't even insects. They're arachnids, a completely separate class of animals that evolved over 400 million years ago, long before dinosaurs, before trees, before anything we would recognize as a modern ecosystem. They were among the first predators to hunt on land, and today there are over 50,000 known species of spiders, occupying every habitat on Earth except the open ocean and Antarctica. They live in deserts, rainforests, caves, mountains, your basement, your garden, and yes, probably your bedroom. Scientists estimate that at any given moment, you are never more than 10 feet away from a spider. That statistic should terrify you. But it should also amaze you, because spiders are one of evolution's greatest success stories. And the reason they're so successful, the reason they're everywhere, is that they've evolved solutions to survival that are unlike anything else in the animal kingdom. So today, we're going deep. We're going to explore the anatomy, the physics, the chemistry, and the sheer strangeness of spiders. We'll examine their silk material that scientists still can't fully replicate in the lab. We'll dissect their hydraulic legs, which work like tiny pistons. We'll investigate their venom, which ranges from harmless to nightmarishly lethal. We'll watch them hunt, build, mate, and die in ways that defy logic. And by the end, you'll understand why spiders aren't just unusual. They're impossible. Let's start with the most iconic feature, the web. When you think of spiders, you think of webs. But what you probably don't realize is that a spider's web is one of the most sophisticated structures in nature. Not all spiders build webs. About half of all species are hunting spiders that don't use silk to catch prey. But for those that do, the web is a masterpiece of engineering, chemistry, and mathematics. Let's talk about the silk first. Spider silk is a protein fiber produced by specialized glands in the spider's abdomen called spinnerets. Most spiders have multiple types of silk glands, each producing a different type of silk for different purposes. Orb weaver spiders, for example, can produce up to 7 different types of silk. Dragline silk, for the structural frame of the web. Capture silk, coated in sticky droplets to trap prey. Wrapping silk to immobilize captured insects. Attachment silk to anchor the web to surfaces. And even a special silk for building egg sacs. Each type has unique properties. Strength, elasticity, stickiness optimized for its function. The silk itself is composed of proteins called spidroids, which are arranged in a combination of crystalline and amorphous regions. The crystalline regions provide strength, while the amorphous regions provide elasticity. This combination gives spider silk its extraordinary properties. It's stronger than steel by weight, more elastic than rubber, and tougher, meaning it can absorb more energy before breaking than almost any material known to science. The dragline silk of the golden orb weaver spider has a tensile strength of about 1.3 gigapascals. To put that in perspective, high-grade steel has a tensile strength of about 1.5 gigapascals. But steel is far denser than spider silk. If you compare them by weight, spider silk is 5 times stronger. And when you factor in elasticity, the ability to stretch without breaking spider silk can extend up to 40% beyond its original length before snapping. Steel, by contrast, stretches only about 8%. This makes spider silk one of the toughest materials in existence. Engineers have been trying to replicate spider silk in the lab for decades. It could revolutionize everything from body armor to medical sutures to biodegradable plastics. But despite enormous effort and investment, no one has succeeded in producing synthetic spider silk that matches the natural version. The problem is that the spinning process matters as much as the chemical composition. Spiders extrude silk through their spinnerets using a combination of mechanical shear, pH gradients, and controlled dehydration. The liquid silk proteins align into fibers as they're pulled through microscopic nozzles, solidifying almost instantly upon contact with air. This process happens at room temperature, using water as a solvent, and requires no external energy input. In contrast, industrial fiber production requires high heat, harsh chemicals, and massive amounts of energy. Spider silk is green technology perfected by evolution. Now let's talk about the web structure itself. The classic orb web, the circular spiral design, is a marvel of geometric precision. It's built in stages. First, the spider releases a strand of silk into the wind. If the strand catches on a distant anchor point, the spider reinforces it with additional strands, creating a bridge. Then it constructs radial threads, like spokes of a wheel, radiating out from a central hub. Next comes the spiral. Starting from the center and working outward, the spider lays down a sticky capture spiral, spacing each loop with mathematical regularity. The entire process takes about an hour. And here's the remarkable part. The spider does this entirely by feel. It doesn't see the web as a whole. It doesn't plan it out visually. It follows a genetically encoded algorithm, touching each thread, measuring distances with its legs, and applying tension based on tactile feedback. And yet the result is geometrically perfect. The spacing between spiral loops is nearly uniform. The tension distribution is optimized to prevent tearing. And the web is tuned like a musical instrument. Different threads vibrate at different frequencies, allowing the spider to distinguish between the struggles of trapped prey, the touch of a mate, and the impact of debris like a falling leaf. This vibrational sensitivity is astonishing. A spider sitting at the center of its web can detect the vibration of a single fruit fly landing on the outermost edge, 3 feet away. It can pinpoint the exact location of the disturbance within milliseconds, and it can decide, based on the vibration pattern, whether to rush toward the prey, retreat from danger, or ignore the stimulus entirely. This is not simple reflex behavior. This is information processing. The spider's brain, technically a collection of ganglia distributed throughout its body, is analyzing frequency, amplitude, duration, and pattern of vibrations in real time. It's performing complex signal processing with a neural system that weighs less than a milligram. Now let's move to the spider's body, because this is where things get truly alien. Spiders have 2 main body segments: the cephalothorax, which combines the head and thorax into a single fused unit, and the abdomen, which contains most of the internal organs. The cephalothorax houses the brain, venom glands, stomach, and the bases of the 8 legs. The abdomen contains the heart, respiratory organs, digestive system, silk glands, and reproductive organs. But the weirdness starts with how they breathe. Spiders don't have lungs in the mammalian sense. Instead, most spiders use a combination of book lungs and tracheae. Book lungs are stacks of thin, leaf-like membranes inside the abdomen, filled with hemolymph, the spider's blood. Air enters through openings called spiracles, diffuses across the membranes, and oxygen is absorbed into the hemolymph. The tracheae are tiny tubes that deliver oxygen directly to tissues. This system is passivaires, no active pumping like with mammalian lungs. The spider simply allows diffusion to do the work. This is efficient for small animals, but it's also a limiting factor. There's a reason spiders can't grow to the size of dogs or horses. Their respiratory system wouldn't support it. The larger the spider, the harder it is to get enough oxygen to the internal tissues. This is why the largest spiders, like the Goliath bird eater, rarely exceed a leg span of 12 inches. Now let's talk about their blood. Spider blood hemolymph is blue. Not metaphorically, but literally blue. This is because it uses hemocyanin, a copper-based molecule, to transport oxygen rather than hemoglobin, the iron-based molecule used by vertebrates. When hemocyanin binds to oxygen, it turns blue. When it releases oxygen, it becomes colorless. This gives spiders their characteristic pale or bluish appearance when you look at them closely. Hemocyanin is less efficient than hemoglobin at carrying oxygen, which is another reason why spiders have limited size and activity levels compared to vertebrates. But hemocyanin has advantages. It works well in cold temperatures and low oxygen environments, which is why spiders can survive in extreme habitats where insects and mammals struggle. Now let's talk about their legs, because this is where the hydraulic engineering comes in. Spiders don't have muscles in their legs the way we do. They have muscles that pull the legs, inward flexor muscles, but they don't have extensor muscles to push the legs outward. Instead, spiders extend their legs using hydraulic pressure. Here's how it works. The spider's cephalothorax is filled with hemolymph. When the spider wants to extend a leg, it contracts muscles around the cephalothorax, increasing the internal pressure. This forces hemolymph into the leg, which extends it like a hydraulic piston. To retract the leg, the spider relaxes the pressure and uses flexor muscles to pull it back in. This system is efficient and powerful, but it has a trade-off. If a spider's exoskeleton is punctured, it loses hydraulic pressure and can't move. This is why a spider with a damaged cephalothorax will curl up into a ball. It's lost the ability to extend its legs. This hydraulic system also explains why dead spiders curl their legs inward. When the spider dies, the internal pressure drops, and the flexor muscles, which are no longer counterbalanced by hydraulic pressure, contract, pulling the legs into the classic dead spider posture. Now let's talk about their eyes, because spider vision is far more complex than most people realize. Most spiders have 8 eyes, arranged in different configurations depending on the species, but not all eyes serve the same function. In jumping spiders, for example, the 2 large forward-facing eyes provide high-resolution color vision, allowing the spider to judge distances and recognize prey. These eyes have a movable retina. The spider can shift the retina inside the eye to scan the environment without moving its head. It's a form of internal eye movement, like a biological version of a security camera. The 6 smaller eyes provide wide-angle peripheral vision, detecting motion and alerting the spider to threats or prey approaching from the sides or rear. In contrast, web-building spiders like orb weavers have poor vision. They rely almost entirely on vibrations to navigate and hunt. Their eyes can detect light and shadow, helping them distinguish day from night, but they can't form detailed images. This makes sense. If you spend your life sitting in the center of a web, waiting for vibrations, you don't need sharp eyesight. But jumping spiders are visual hunters, and their eyesight is among the best in the invertebrate world. Studies have shown that jumping spiders can recognize individual human faces, plan multi-step hunting strategies, and even appreciate visual patterns. They are, in a very real sense, intelligent. Now let's talk about venom, because this is where the danger comes in. Nearly all spiders are venomous. They produce venom in specialized glands in their cephalothorax and inject it through fangs-modified appendages called chelicerae. The venom serves 2 purposes: to immobilize prey and to begin the digestion process. Spider venom is a complex cocktail of proteins, enzymes, and neurotoxins. The exact composition varies wildly between species. Some venoms are neurotoxic, attacking the nervous system and causing paralysis. Others are cytotoxic, breaking down cell membranes and tissue. Still others are hemotoxic, disrupting blood clotting and causing internal bleeding. For most spiders, the venom is harmless to humans. A typical house spider or garden spider can bite, but the venom causes only mild irritation if it penetrates the skin at all. But a handful of species are medically significant. The black widow, for example, produces a neurotoxin called latrotoxin, which causes severe muscle pain, cramping, and in rare cases, respiratory failure. The symptoms can last for days. The brown recluse produces a cytotoxic venom that causes necrosis, the death of tissue around the bite site. In severe cases, the wound can take months to heal and may require surgical debridement. The Brazilian wandering spider, considered one of the most venomous spiders in the world, produces a potent neurotoxin that can cause intense pain, breathing difficulties, and priapism, a prolonged, painful erection. Despite its fearsome reputation, fatalities are rare thanks to modern antivenom. The Sydney funnel web spider, found in Australia, is one of the few spiders capable of killing a human quickly. Its venom attacks the nervous system, causing massive release of neurotransmitters, leading to convulsions, respiratory failure, and death within hours if untreated. But again, antivenom is effective, and fatalities have become extremely rare. What's fascinating is that spider venom is highly specific. A venom that's lethal to insects might be harmless to mammals, and vice versa. This is because the venom targets specific receptors in the nervous system, and those receptors vary between species. Scientists are now studying spider venoms for medical applications. Some venom peptides show promise as painkillers, others as treatments for cardiac arrhythmia, and still others as environmentally friendly insecticides. Now let's talk about digestion, because this is where things get truly horrifying. Spiders cannot eat solid food. Their mouthparts are too small, and their digestive system is too narrow. Instead, they practice external digestion. Here's how it works. After the spider bites its prey and injects venom, it waits for the venom to take effect. Once the prey is immobilized or dead, the spider uses its chelicerae to tear open the body. Then, it regurgitates digestive enzymes onto the prey's tissues. These enzymes break down proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, turning the prey's insides into a liquid slurry. The spider then sucks up this liquid through its mouth. The entire process can take hours. What's left behind is a desiccated husk and empty exoskeleton with all the internal soft tissues removed. This is why you sometimes find the dried remains of insects in spider webs. The spider has literally dissolved and consumed the insides, leaving only the shell. This form of digestion is incredibly efficient. It allows spiders to extract nearly all the nutrients from their prey, but it also means that spiders must be patient. They can't gulp down food quickly like a mammal. They must wait for the enzymes to do their work. On the other hand, this also means spiders can survive for extended periods without food. Because their metabolism is slow and their energy needs are low, some species can go months, even up to a year, without eating. Now let's talk about reproduction. Because spider mating is one of the most bizarre and dangerous rituals in the animal kingdom. In many species, the female is significantly larger than the male, sometimes 2 or 3 times larger. This size difference creates a problem. To the female, the male looks like prey, so the male must approach the female carefully, signaling his intentions through a combination of vibrations, pheromones, and visual displays. In web-building spiders, the male will often pluck the strands of the female's web in a specific pattern, like playing a musical instrument. This vibration pattern says, "I'm a mate, not a meal." If the female is receptive, she'll respond with her own vibration pattern. If not, she may attack. In jumping spiders, the male performs an elaborate courtship dance, waving his brightly colored legs, bouncing up and down, and displaying his iridescent scales. The female watches closely. If she's impressed, she'll allow him to approach. If not, she may lunge at him. But even if the male succeeds in mating, he's not out of danger. In many species, the female will attempt to eat the male after mating, a phenomenon called sexual cannibalism. The male has a few strategies to avoid this fate. Some males bring a gift-wrapped insect to distract a female while he mates. Others mate while the female is molting, when she's vulnerable and less likely to attack. And in some species, the male will literally tie the female down with silk before mating, giving himself time to escape afterward. In extreme cases, like the Australian redback spider, the male actually somersaults his abdomen into the female's jaws during mating, offering himself as a meal. This seems suicidal. But there's an evolutionary logic. By sacrificing himself, the male keeps the female occupied, increasing the chances that his sperm will fertilize her eggs before a rival male arrives. It's a grotesque but effective strategy. Now let's talk about maternal care, because some spiders are surprisingly devoted parents. After mating, the female lays her eggs, sometimes hundreds of them, and wraps them in a silk egg sac. In many species, the female will guard the egg sac fiercely, attacking anything that comes near. She won't eat during this period, dedicating all her energy to protecting her offspring. When the spiderlings hatch, they're tiny, translucent versions of their parents. In some species, the mother will continue to care for them, allowing them to ride on her back or feeding them regurgitated food. But in most species, the spiderlings disperse quickly. They climb to a high point, release a strand of silk into the wind, and allow the breeze to carry them away, a process called ballooning. This is how spiders colonize new territories. Spiderlings have been found ballooning at altitudes of over 3 miles, carried by air currents across hundreds of miles. It's a risky strategy. Most spiderlings die, but those that survive can establish themselves in new habitats far from competition. Now let's talk about the diversity of spiders, because the 50,000 known species exhibit an astonishing range of lifestyles and adaptations. There are trapdoor spiders that dig burrows and build hinged lids, waiting in ambush for passing prey. There are fishing spiders that skate across the surface of water using surface tension to stay afloat and dive beneath to catch fish and tadpoles. There are spitting spiders that spray sticky venom from a distance, gluing prey to the ground before approaching. There are boa spiders that swing a sticky globule on a silk thread, like a lasso, to catch moths. There are ant-mimicking spiders that look and move like ants, infiltrating ant colonies to prey on them. There are social spiders that live in massive communal webs, cooperating to hunt and raise young, a rare example of true eusocial behavior in arachnids. And there are aquatic spiders, like the diving bell spider, that live entirely underwater, carrying air bubbles trapped in their silk webs. But perhaps the most extreme adaptation is found in the peacock spider, a group of tiny jumping spiders from Australia. The males have brightly colored, iridescent abdominal flaps that they raise and wave during courtship, like a peacock's tail. They perform elaborate dances, combining visual displays with vibrational signals. Each species has a unique dance, and if the female isn't impressed, she'll reject the male or eat him. These displays have become internet sensations, with videos of peacock spiders dancing set to music going viral. But beyond the entertainment value, they're a reminder of how complex and sophisticated spider behavior can be. Now let's talk about the evolutionary history of spiders, because understanding where they came from helps explain why they're so strange. Spiders belong to the class Arachnida, which also includes scorpions, ticks, mites, and harvestmen. The arachnids split from other arthropods, insects, and crustaceans over 500 million years ago. The first true spiders appeared around 400 million years ago in the Devonian period. These early spiders had segmented abdomens and primitive silk glands. They lived on the forest floor, hunting small arthropods. Over time, spiders diversified. Some lineages evolved more specialized silk glands, allowing them to build webs. Others became active hunters. And a few lineages evolved extreme adaptations: venom, size, speed. With the fundamental body plan, 8 legs, 2 body segments, silk production has remained remarkably stable. This evolutionary stability, combined with ecological diversity, is a key reason for spiders' success. Now let's talk about why spiders are so successful as predators. The answer comes down to 3 factors: silk, venom, and sensory systems. Silk allows spiders to hunt without expending energy. A web is a passive trap that works 24 hours a day. The spider simply waits. Venom allows spiders to subdue prey much larger than themselves. Even a small spider can bring down an insect 10 times its size. And sensory systems, especially vibration detection, allow spiders to detect prey in complete darkness, in dense vegetation, or underwater. Combine these 3 advantages, and you have a predator that can hunt in almost any environment, at any time, with minimal energy expenditure. This is why spiders are so ubiquitous. Now let's address the fear of spiders' arachnophobia. It's one of the most common phobias in the world. Why? There are several theories. One is that fear of spiders is an evolutionary adaptation. Spiders have been dangerous to humans for millions of years, not because they hunt us, but because venomous spiders can cause injury or death. Early humans who avoided spiders had a survival advantage. Another theory is that the uncanny appearance of spiders' 8 legs, jerky movements, sudden stillness triggers an instinctive disgust response. Spiders don't move like other animals. They scuttle, they freeze, they appear and disappear. This unpredictability is unsettling. But here's the reality. The vast majority of spiders are harmless. They play a crucial role in ecosystems, controlling insect populations. Without spiders, we'd be overrun with flies, mosquitoes, and agricultural pests. Spiders are, in fact, humanity's allies, and understanding them, appreciating their biology, their engineering, their strangeness, is the first step toward overcoming fear. Now let's talk about the future of spider research. Scientists are exploring spider silk for biomaterials, spider venom for medicine, spider vision for robotics, and spiderweb architecture for engineering. There's even research into using spider silk proteins to create biodegradable sensors and drug delivery systems. Spiders are, quite literally, shaping the future of technology. So what have we learned? Spiders are not insects. They're arachnids, a separate evolutionary lineage. They produce silk stronger than steel and tougher than Kevlar. They breathe through book lungs and tracheae. Their blood is blue. They use hydraulic pressure to extend their legs. They have up to 8 eyes, but many rely on vibration rather than vision. They inject venom to paralyze prey and digest it externally. They mate in ways that are bizarre, dangerous, and sometimes fatal. They care for their young, build mathematical structures, and exhibit behaviors that suggest intelligence. And they've been doing all of this for 400 million years. Spiders are aliens. They're living proof that life can evolve solutions we'd never imagine. And they're everywhere. In your home, your garden, your world. So the next time you see a spider, don't crush it. Watch it. Watch how it moves. Watch how it builds. Watch how it hunts. Because you're not just looking at an animal. You're looking at one of evolution's masterpieces. Nothing about spiders is normal, and that's exactly why they're extraordinary.